I am Kristen Parker. I am the VP of Compliance and Operations at Risk Scout. Prior to joining Risk Scout, I was who our target market was. I was a BSA officer at community financial institutions. I have a deep, big part of my heart that is community financial institutions because they are so important in our economy. And part of what happens in community financial institutions is we have all these regulatory check boxes that we have to check. And when we're doing something good enough to get by with our regulators, we tend to not pay much attention to what's really going on behind the scenes to see if maybe we could do it better, gain some efficiencies, and really help folks be able to do this, live this life, and do it well and effectively and efficiently. So at Risk Scout, there's a whole lot of talking heads in vendor spaces, but we've actually lived it and breathed it. So it's not just myself that was a former BSA officer, but we have several on staff, and we're very influenced by the financial institution community because that's who we're primarily funded by from an investment standpoint. We also have former regulators on staff as well. And the folks behind the tech side of it have been building fintech software for a long time. So we definitely have lived and breathed it with that cheeks in the seats experience in that space. And so we very much know what it's like to use different technology that exists out there today and where there can be improvements made. Our mission is to really help the employees that are using our systems to really sleep better at night, do their jobs more efficiently and effectively, and do it at a cost that is effective for community financial institutions. We're batting 1,000 on customers. We've referenceable customers. We have about 24 customers. We've been around for about 4 years now. And really, we're probably batting 1,000 with is because because we've been there and done that, we refuse to just dump a product on somebody's lap, right? I've been a victim of that myself. It's not nice, simply put. And so we don't want to be that way. We are really, truly our partners because we know a lot of times our institutions, who our target market is, they're not just necessarily a BSA officer in their role. They're also individuals who are wearing many, many other hats. Maybe they're the CRA officer, the compliance officer, and so on and so forth. So if we can help them do their jobs more effectively and efficiently in BSA, that means they have time for other mission critical tasks. Financial crime, in the crux of it, BSA is really there to help protect communities, right? That regulation requires community financial institutions and big financial institutions and all financial institutions to really detect and report suspicious activity. It's all about protecting their communities and really protecting their institution from being part of any type of financial crime ring that some bad actor has chosen to use their institution for. Financial crime market, the spend on compliance has doubled in the last 4 years from 30 billion to 61 billion. And that's because there's a lot of human capital spend in this place, on top of legacy technology that's been out there for 10, 15, 20 years. And regardless if you are utilizing, a legacy tech stack in this arena of BSA, which would be your Yellowhammers, your Abrigos, your Verafins, and so forth. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's still a lot of manual tasks that occur outside of that. And so not only are we seeing the spend increase, we're also seeing the regulator demand for efficiencies and doing your job well come down from the top. There's been 16 enforcement actions on financial institutions of all sizes in the last 16 months or in the last 6 months rather, on BSA alone. So the common theme we heard throughout the week was, we were talking to bankers last week, I've just had my regulatory exam and I've passed it, but they asked me way different questions than they did last time. And so we're seeing it get tougher and increased, ensuring that institutions are really fulfilling what the whole purpose behind this regulation is to begin with. So as we go through and we talk to institutions, oftentimes the common theme here is we ask 3 main questions, and all the answers we get tend to be around the same threshold of regulatory risks. Do you know your risks as your FI? Some of them are absolutely I do, but most of them are we think we're okay because we've not gotten written up. Is that okay? That's up to your interpretation there. Efficiencies. How long does your team spend on BSA tasks? We don't actually know. We've never measured it. And that's hard to do because a lot of times when you're in BSA land, if you're passing exams, it's just like that's something we just don't talk about. If they pass an exam, they can keep business as usual. And growth. As institutions really seek out to grow their institutions and are looking for new deposits, some are getting creative in what they're offering, right? A lot of times when we try to have those conversations with folks to say, how are you wanting to grow? How are you getting creative? Are you looking at new markets? They say we've researched new markets, but the compliance efforts are too hard. So these common struggles are something that we've dealt with every day in our own lives in these roles. And so how does risk out differ from all of what's out there, and how do we make it better, and how do we improve in those certain areas? So it's important to remember that risk out is a one-to-one replacement for these legacy tech stacks that have been out there for 15 to 20 years. Yellowhammer, Jack Henry's Yellowhammer, FCRM, BAM Plus, and Verifin have been out there for a while. All of those have equal transaction monitoring, risk scoring, those very basic things that you need to be able to call yourself an AML transaction monitoring system. The problem is it lies in you can have these things, but if you're making it to where you have to have somebody who knows how to decode code to be able to understand why an alert even triggered, that they're having to sit through and something's not human readable or human actionable by them easily, those are valuable minutes that are spent every day by these individuals in these roles where they have very limited time in the day. So the more human readable and the more understandable and explainable you can make software, the more efficiencies they're going to gain because they're going to be able to do they're going to be able to do more with less, right? They can do it quicker. They can decision things. They can quickly decide whether something is suspicious or not suspicious and move on with their day. What also differentiates risk out from everyone else are the things that are highlighted in the red box here. No other BSA system has real-time communication where you're able to communicate directly with your customers. No other system aids you in new market growth from all the way from onboarding to ongoing compliance. And no other system has this workflow automations that we do that are industry specific, that are very much set it and let it features so that people aren't having to live on their calendar, particular reminders, or through Excel spreadsheets. Really what the proof is in the pudding, right? That's what we say here in the South. If, we have with our completely 100% referenceable customers, with regulatory risks and efficiencies and growth, I won't read this slides for you, but the theme is the same. You can kind of think of risk out as a Swiss Army knife that can be used in different manners for different things, but the regulators are giving good positive feedback to our institutions about their processes that they're completing in risk out. The efficiencies being gained. We know that, again, we maybe only have a half a person shop in some of these areas. Maybe it's just a teller that drew the short straw and has to be the BSA officer. We need to give them the ability to do their job and do it efficiently. One thing that a lot of institutions are running up against is there's BSA officers are very hard to find anymore. Just general BSA staffing, they're expensive, they're retiring. We're going through this huge influx or outflux right now of these guys not even being available to hire. So if you're going to have to hire junior people to take these roles on, they need a tool that can help them and guide them and teach them as they learn as well. And then from a growth side as well, we can help them scale in new markets through our onboarding and ongoing monitoring tools we have built in as well. The platform options are really three options here. Everybody starts out with the base platform. That base platform, it is turned on within 48 hours, and there's immediate efficiencies gained. There's no integration involved with just the base platform. It's there to help them take all of their manual tasks they're doing today, give them a tool to do that, and then have set it and let it features that automates a lot of the stuff that they're having to drag around and do and chase people around for. The real-time customer communication has to be one of the biggest keys there. We'll talk about more in a second. And then the BSA AML add-on is in beta, where the transaction monitoring, risk scoring, SARD, CTR filings, all of that is an addition onto the base platform, and it's currently in beta and expected to be out by the end of the summer. And then the cannabis market is the elephant in the room. We have to talk about it, guys, because there's 38 states that have legalized it, and whether or not your institutions are going to do it or not, they need to address it in their policies and procedures. If they want to do it, then they have the ability to also do that in the Risk Out platform. We've been helping institutions for the last 4 years start new programs, shore up existing programs in cannabis, and doing it efficiently and effectively. So this is a field that we, you don't want to pave your own road on this. If you can drive one that's already paved, you might as well, because this is a market that can be tough for some institutions, and we want to make them have reasonable and help them build reasonable and achievable programs that they can do all in their BSA platform as well. Our core system and compatibility, we can, all of the players, we take a batch file in, so that really makes us a little bit more flexible than some of these, some folks that are just using APIs and whatnot. As you all know, the bigger players such as Fiserv and FIS are the harder ones to get in the door, but our institutions have rallied behind us, and we're actually testing out some of our beta customers, our Fiserv customers. We have SOC 2 Type 2 certification, so we take all of our PII and all of security very seriously in what we do. Our slogan is taking the BS out of BSA, because, man, there's so much BS in this space, and there's so many better ways to do this job better, more efficiently and effectively, and that's what we're solving for. So that's Risk Out in a highlight nutshell. If there's nothing else, then just know I geek out over BSA stuff, if you couldn't tell. So if you want me to be a resident BSA geek, I'm happy to be. Reach out to me anytime. People think it's the most boring subject, but I think it is so fun catching the bad guys and doing it well, even at the smallest of institutions. So, just know I'm happy to answer any questions at any time.